There we go. Looks like I am alive. Hello, Facebook land. Hello, women in my Facebook group. As always, I am just going to give it a minute so some women have a chance to pop on live. So hold on with me a minute here. Hello everyone. Just giving it a little bit longer, and then I will get started. Hello to everyone joining. Okay. Yay, I'm really excited for the topic of the live stream today, which is how to feel more during sexual touch. And I know a lot about this. If you have been following me at all, you know my story that I actually experienced pain during sex for 20 years. And from enduring my way through painful sex for so many years, what had happened was my body had totally numbed over. And I could feel very little at all, even not even just about sex, but even just touch. It would feel like I could barely feel someone even touching me. That's how numbed over my body had become after so many years of enduring my way through sex. So this is something I know a lot about. And I know I'm not alone with this because a lot of my clients have similar issue of feeling really numb to touch. It's actually really common for women. So if that describes you, if you often or always feel numb, thank you for the emojis. If you often or always feel numb to touch, you are definitely not alone with that. And it's definitely 100% something that you can work through. It's not natural for your body to feel numb. It's understandable that your body feels that way because more than likely you, like me, have received unwanted touch. You've allowed yourself to receive unwanted touch, or you just had touch that you had no control over. So I'm going to tell you a story about a moment in my life where something dramatically shifted for me around this. And then I'm going to break down the process that happened for me, because you can take that involuntary process that happened for me, and you can take that and actually turn it into a process that you can use. And that's where, honestly, the majority of what I offer and the majority of my teachings come from around sexuality is actually from my own process. And before I get into the topic, I just want to give a short plug for my course that is currently open for 2019 enrollment, my Have Sex Like a Goddess course. Doors close for the 2019 enrollment this Friday. So you've got a few more days to register, and I only enroll in this course as a standalone once a year. So it won't be available again till 2020, and who knows what my life will look like in 2020. So I can't even guarantee that that will happen for sure. But it is the most affordable way to get access to the work I do. And in the course, I take you through an entire healing journey around sexuality. And that process was really birthed from my personal experience of moving from 20 years of painful sex to having a really juicy sex life. And not only just a juicy sex life, but just having access to what I like to call my orgasmic energy, like that alive, sensual energy, having access to that even if I'm currently not having sex with a partner. So I put a link to that course in the comments. So you can go onto that page and find out more about the course and register there. Okay. So I just wanted to make sure everyone knew that the doors for that are closing on Friday. So you have a couple more days to register. All right, so the topic again is how to feel more during sexual touch. And the tagline, I think I put, how I went from mostly feeling numb to having mini orgasms. Just got chills. Mini orgasms from someone just touching my arm. Which actually just happened to me the other night. I mean, it happens to me a lot, but it happened to me with a lover the other night. So it's really alive in me right now. Okay, so first I want to share this story of where this first happened for me. If you listen to my story, you know that I started this practice called orgasmic meditation. I had this big opening of my sexual energy, and I had started to feel a whole lot more than I ever felt before. But there was a moment in time after that process had already started for me. Oop, I'm shaking the table. I don't want to do that. When I was with a lover and we were in bed, and he was, you know, just lightly touching my arms, touching my body. And normally, before I had started my sexual healing journey, what would have been happening for me in that moment where he was touching me is I would have been up in my head. And I would have been thinking, man, I don't really feel a lot. Like, what's wrong with me? Or I would have been thinking, I hope I look okay. Or I hope my body looks okay, or, you know, just all of that. Or I probably would have been thinking like, you know, I've got to do laundry, honestly. That's how boring sex was for me. Oh, whoa, I just got a ton of emojis. People can relate to that. Okay. Yeah, so I would have been having all of those thoughts. But I had already started my sexual healing journey. And what I knew to do instead was to really focus on my breath and to focus on my body. And hello, nice to see you. And to be really present and notice that when I was getting those like monkey mind thoughts, to just drop back down in my body. So I already knew to do all of those things, and I was already doing that. And sexual touch already felt a lot better than it had felt before. And he was, you know, stroking my arm, stroking my body. And all of a sudden, because of that presence that I was bringing to the experience, my body involuntarily started a healing process. My body started to shake, like I was suddenly shaking. I started involuntarily crying. And my mind started flashing back on all of the times where I had allowed myself to be touched when I really didn't want to. And this was different than all the times I allowed myself to be penetrated sexually when I really didn't want to. I talk about that a lot in some other live streams, like never have sex when you're not a yes to it. But this was, I could see, I was literally having all of these flashbacks to all these times I had allowed myself simply just to be touched, and I wasn't a yes. And it was as simple things as a hug. When I hugged, someone came for a hug and I really didn't want to hug them, but I hugged them anyway. Or when, you know, I let a boyfriend or a girlfriend, I've had girlfriends too, touch me when I really wasn't a yes to it at that moment. And so I was flashing back on all of these times when that had happened, which were hundreds. You know, I'm sure I didn't see every single one, but I was seeing a lot of them in rapid succession. And my body was shaking and tears were coming down my eyes, all involuntarily. And what I could see was that every single time I had allowed unwanted touch, every single time, and it felt so innocent, like that must not be that big of a deal just to hug someone when I don't really want to hug them. That's not that big of a deal. But I could see every single time I did that, there was a mechanism in my energy where, to protect me, every single time I had created a thin layer of energetic protection literally on my skin. And that every time I had allowed this unwanted touch, that energetic protection got a little thicker and a little thicker and a little thicker and a little thicker. And I could feel that the thing that my body was doing involuntarily, it was shaking, crying, that what was happening was that energetic layer was starting to break up. So I was with it, my lover was with me, you know, we sat together and allowed this to fully have its full life. I can't remember how long I was crying and shaking. It's probably maybe 10 minutes until that reached its completion. I took a breath and I could feel that something profound had been released. And I think I got a drink of water. And then I asked my lover to touch me again. And it was like, oh my God. It was like I had never felt touched before. I could feel his touch penetrate past my skin and like into my cells. It was so electrifying. It was so sensational. And I realized my whole life, I never knew how touch was actually supposed to feel. And I never understood why it was important not to allow unwanted touch until I saw what had happened with this energetic layer. I literally, like, he was just touching my arm and I was having mini orgasms. It was like my whole body felt electric into my cells, like into my cellular, into my cells. Everything was electrified just from him touching my arm. And that was when I really, I think I already said this, but I'll say it again. I really got the importance of really honoring my yeses and nos and how important that is. It is so important. And your yeses and your nos are so intelligent. They're so trustworthy. And I sometimes mess up because I feel like if someone comes for a hug, it's a little awkward to say, no thanks, right? So sometimes I can't say, since this has happened to me, that I've never allowed unwanted touch, but I do have that commitment to myself and I do the best that I can with it. So don't walk away here thinking you're going to be perfect with this, but I do want to encourage you to walk away from here with a commitment. I'm going to offer for you to make that commitment to yourself, to stop allowing unwanted touch. And really, that is a commitment to you. It's a commitment to your well-being. It's a commitment to your boundaries. It's a commitment to your relationship with your body. It's a commitment to your sexual energy. Let me just see here. Hi, everyone who has joined. If anyone has questions or comments, I love hearing from you, so I don't feel like I'm talking to myself here. So if anything I've said so far has landed or resonated for you, send a comment. I love the interaction. Okay, so that was the story, and you probably get the process from the story, but let me just, I made myself a couple of notes on what I want to say about the process. So let me talk about that. Let's see. Before I talk about the process, what I do want to say is that I talk to so many women who think that they can never have more pleasure, like, because they've just had such a lack of pleasure their whole lives, they can't imagine that more pleasure is possible. And what I always am looking to do when I teach, when I work with a client, when I put a live stream out, is to normalize how normal pleasure is for you as a woman. It really is your natural state. What I always say is you just have blocks. And one of the blocks is, like me, I'm sure you have that layer of energetic protection, protecting you from touch, because you haven't been taught or haven't known how to say no to unwanted touch. But pleasure is your natural state, and your body is naturally wired for that. So if you ever feel down or hopeless or broken around your sexuality, it's your natural state. And it's pretty easy to tweak yourself and release the things that are blocking you from experiencing it, because the body is always looking to go back to its natural state. And that's the process that I take you through in the Have Sex Like a Goddess course that, again, is currently open for 2019 enrollment. The doors closed on Friday. So if you're currently not experiencing the depths of pleasure that you want to be, just sign up for the course. Why not? You can't get where you want to go if you don't know how to get there. And I show you a whole journey of how to get there. Okay, so let me talk you through the process. The next time, if you currently have a trusted person that you could ask for touch, or the next time you receive touch, the next time you're receiving touch, the first thing you want to do is check and make sure you're actually in your body. You will be amazed how often you're in your head. So just check, am I in my body? And if you're not, some things that can help with that: wiggling your toes, squeezing your legs, tuning into your womb space, which is something I teach. That's a big one. Feeling your pussy, that's a big one, especially during sexual touch. And just as much as you can, let the thoughts bubble up and go away, and then come back to your body. And really allow yourself to breathe and be fully present to the touch. And whatever the touch is bringing up for you, be fully present to that. So if you are receiving touch and you're just feeling numb, numb is a feeling. It's a feeling to be fully present to. I talk about this a lot. In the first module, we talk about this a lot in the Have Sex Like a Goddess course, and how to be fully present to whatever it is we're experiencing with open arms. Not just be present to it, but be present to it with open arms. So if you're just feeling numb, be present and open to the numbness with open arms, because this is your body's intelligence. It's numbed over with intelligence. It's trying to protect you. So one of the things you can do is bring the word yes. So if you feel numbness, yes, I feel numbness. Yes to the numbness. Yes, 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 yes. Or if you're feeling pain, yes to the pain. Or you're feeling emotional pain, yes to the emotional pain. Be present to it with open arms. Really allow it. It's intelligently showing you something. So make sure you're in your body. Be fully present to what's happening inside your body when you're receiving the touch. Breathe. Make sure you're breathing. Let me see. Hold on one second. And then, just from that, you may start to have some kind of release. And I don't know what release looks like for you. For me, it often looks like shaking, tears, or yawning. When I'm with a client and they start releasing, I always yawn. I tell them in the first session, if I yawn, that's a good thing. I'm not bored. It's that your system's releasing, and my body reacts to that with yawning. So I don't know what it would look like for you, but you may notice just from that level of presence and open arms to whatever you're experiencing, you may start to notice that you start to release. And then another thing you want to do is pay really close attention to any subtle sensations that you're feeling. Often there are subtle sensations of pleasure in there, but because we're so numbed over, and because we just don't often have enough presence in the bedroom, we're often, like I said, in our heads, we don't notice the subtleties of pleasure that we actually are feeling. So you just want to be incredibly attentive to, is there any pleasurable sensations here? And then really put your awareness into those sensations, and they'll usually increase. When you notice them, they'll increase and you'll start to feel more pleasurable sensations. So relax, breathe, be in your body, say yes with open arms to whatever you're experiencing, even if it's numbness. Notice as you do that if there's some releasing that happens, and give yourself time for that release. So if you have a partner, talk with him or her about this beforehand so they're not surprised. And then start to pay close attention to if there are any subtle sensations of pleasure that you are feeling. Let's see, Kylie says, if anyone is considering this, I took the course and it was pure life-changing magic. Oh, hi, Kylie. Thank you so much. Thank you. Kylie, I appreciate those words and you sharing that. Yeah, so that's really all I have to share today. Again, I really want to encourage you, if you are not experiencing the levels of pleasure that you know are possible for you, join my course. It won't happen again till 2020, and I'm not sure that it will happen in 2020 because I'm the type of person, I never know what life is going to look like. And it's the most affordable way to go on this healing journey that I have. All right, if anyone has anything else or any questions, pop them in the comments. Just give a second, see if anyone's commenting. Well, I hope this was helpful for you, and I hope it inspires you that more pleasure is possible for you, because it absolutely is. I know that with 100% confidence for you. All right, well, I hope everyone has a lovely day. And as I always like to say, I hope your vagina has a lovely day too. Bye.